It's a disgrace, the priorities of the leftist. Thank you for your service, my friend. Listen to this story. Yeah, I'm throwing a few out there because I can't just take this for 3 hours. I can't. Michelle Obama. We allowed to talk about her? Is that taboo? They're getting all this publicity because they're about to adopt a dog. It goes on and on and on. They have to find the right dog because one of the kids has a this or that. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. This isn't just another wag the tail story, writes AP. The Obamas are getting a dog in April. It's a wire story. First Lady Michelle Obama tells People magazine that the target date for the arrival of the family pet is after her daughter's spring break trip in April. I'm supposed to feel really warm inside. Her husband is destroying my country. But don't worry, the Obamas are getting a dog. Though 7-year-old Sasha is convinced the dog is coming April 1st. Mrs. Obama also says she favors Portuguese water dogs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I go to many dog shelters and dog pounds. I love dogs. I don't think I've ever seen a purebred Portuguese water dog at a shelter. I'm sure there are at that. Don't call me. I'm sure they're there. But I'm sure you have to look. How about a mutt? How about a mutt? The family's been going back and forth on possible names. Among the two Mrs. Obama mentioned and nixed, Frank and Moose. I've got a few names for their dog. Rich, my producer, you want to hear them? Fidel? What's wrong with Fidel? Or, Hugo? That's right. That's right. Carter would be a good one. Barney's Frank? Well, that's a whole other story. Now, where was I? Barack Obama and his wife had promised their daughter, Sasha. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Barack Obama is constantly trying to figure out ways to separate you from your money. And we know from public records, when it comes to his contributions to charity, until he started running for president, they were scarce. And plugs Biden, they were even worse. $200 a year. Same with Obama till he decided to run for president. How much have they contributed to dog shelters or animal shelters of any sort? Do we know? I'll bet if they had, we would have known. It's all well and good that they're adopting a dog. They're looking for a Portuguese water dog. That's wonderful. The man is a multimillionaire from these books he didn't write. I mean, from his books. He's a multimillionaire. He lectures constantly about the need to pay our fair share. Constantly bashing on the rich. Well, there are other ways to do the right thing, and that's to do them in private, to do them through charity, and Obama does very little of it. While he's spending trillions of dollars of your children's future, he personally does very little of it. When I wrote Rescuing Sprite, I said I would give a big-sized chunk of the money away when I received money for the book. And as any author knows, and most other people may know, you don't get it all at once. It's spread out over years through royalties mostly and so forth. I've given a third of the money away to dog shelters. And for cats, too, as a matter of fact. You know, I'm not a cat person. I understand that. I've given about 40% to Uncle Sam, about a third to the dogs, and the rest of it I've put aside in 2 accounts for my kids. They're going to raise taxes hugely on me, people like me. That's going to mean less money available to do what I feel needs to be done in my community, to deal with what I consider a priority. Instead, it's going to go to Acorn. Instead, it's going to go to some state government to line the pockets of the bureaucracy. This is what we mean when local decisions are better made than at that level than at the national level, and individual decisions are even better. I'm afraid to even say how much money I've given to these shelters, and I've got more put aside for them. It's a great deal of money, because that's my thing. When I wrote the book about my dogs, I didn't want to exploit them. I wanted to use it to help the cause. So when I read this story about this president, on and on and on, People magazine, they get all this fanfare for the yet-to-be-adopted Portuguese water dog. And we read the same story over and over again. I think to myself, what have you done for this cause, Mr. President? Not a damn thing. And your policies are going to mean less money, not just for shelters, but for human shelters, for churches and synagogues to do their good works, for the millions, tens of millions, billions, trillions of good things that Americans do on their own, with their money, with their time, to help their fellow man or to help humanity generally. When you tax people, when you take away their money, you take away their options, you take away their liberty, you take away their time, you take away their resources, then they have to husband what they have and protect it. And when you create the kind of instability that's being created now with these threats by politicians, with what's going on with the stock market is cratering. People are concerned about their pensions because the government is threatening the private sector, and it is threatening the private sector. All these voluntary, compassionate things that take place in every community are much more difficult to accomplish. You ask any nonprofit group, church, synagogue, what have you, you ask them what's going on. They'll tell you. So much for big government, so much for liberalism. And I'm sick and tired of this story about the Obamas adopting a dog. When he gives $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 to a shelter or several shelters to try and save dogs and cats and other animals, then I'll look up, then I'll think they deserve all the adulation in People magazine. Otherwise, I could give a crap. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.